Ooh.
Is that you at the end of the Arsenal Dortmund game, was it?
Yeah.
Well, we are going to look at the friendlies. Let's get straight into it. Let's start with the good one. Girona 1, Arsenal 4. In fact, you're the one that watched the whole of this. Before we start, then, let's just say, how much do either of you actually take from friendlies? Are they just warm-ups? Can you take something from them? Or is it just who cares? Just get on with the season thing, or can you actually take anything significant from these?
So I think for me, it's just about getting minutes in players' legs, and that's about it. I don't really take anything from the results or anything like that. I use it as a good chance to see what the new signings look like as well, get a better look at them, because as we've all experienced, we can watch YouTube and think that we've just signed the next Ballon d'Or winner, and it ends up turning out to be, a one goal, and that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good chance to see the new boys. It's a good chance to get the fitness in. I think as well, on the back of a World Cup as well, you're not going to be anywhere near your first 11 till probably November. So especially after a World Cup year, it's just nonsensical. Just get as many minutes in the legs as you can for as many players as possible.
Were you first similar, or there's a bit more from it?
Yeah, similar, but for a start, I like to watch football with no pressure once in a while. And so friendlies, Carling Cup games, they indulge me a little bit. I can watch it without any pressure and don't really give a shit what happens, but it's just good to watch, maybe the development of some players. Maybe, the manager might try something different. It gives you a nice little insight as to what's happening at the club, which isn't related to the massive pressure of first team football and regular Premier League fixtures. It's just one of those. It's a break from reality, but I still get to watch Arsenal, which is fun. So yeah, I watch meaningless games occasionally. So why not?
I think similar. I think results really do not matter. I couldn't care less whether we win or lose, but
yeah,
I think I'd like to see a little bit more than, well, we'll talk about some of these games, but I think where we've spoken so much through this, this is episode 20, the first 19 episodes. I think most of we mentioned hopefully changing style going forward. I'd like to see a little bit of a sign of potentially, we might be changing something, and I'm not sure we've seen that so far, but yeah, so I don't take loads out of it, but I think I'd like to see performances rather than results, I guess, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, spot on.
Well, let's get on with this one then. The first game, 4-1 win. At this stage, I think a lot of players were still not back, were they, from the World Cup? Some of them that were out earlier were back, like Havertz obviously scored here. Dowman got a goal. Zolis scored a goal on his debut. Fires, what did you take from this one?
This was, of all the three games, this was the most sort of open one. So although there was a lot of goals scored, it's pre-season, you're gonna see a lot of goals scored in every game. But this one was Arsenal were the most open then. And it was interesting to see Dowman kind of play in that 10. He didn't play out wide this game, and he was really good. He was really good, and Girona, the Spanish teams are a little bit further on than we are in terms of how many games they've played so far, especially like the sort of mid-table ones, which is one of the reasons why Betis were much sharper than we were the other day, and Girona were sharp. They're just not that good. So it was good to see Dowman in the 10, and he was playing behind Gyokeres and Havertz in the beginning, and then later on, Jesus came on as well. But Dowman was sensational in this game. These are, because you forget how young he is, and he was riding the challenges like you wouldn't imagine. And I watched that game. I watched and just thinking to myself, I don't think you can keep him out of the team this year. It's going to be whoever replaces him is going to be tough. it's going to be on reputation only because Dowman looks the business, mate. I haven't seen a player that good come through and look so comfortable, so comfortable in the first team than Saka. He's that good. So whoever keeps him out is going to be some player or Madueke. So you know, it's good. He's seriously putting in a good shout for him to start this year, and I wouldn't want to bet against him. But what was interesting was that I saw him play a through ball for Havertz's first goal. That was good, and it was also Zolis's debut, right? So we're just going to run out of stuff to say about him, which doesn't sound like Trossard, because he almost is the identical player. He's got that kind of, diminutive sort of stature. He runs with his head down. The ball's quite close to him. He kind of opens up, then closes, then opens up, then closes, and he kind of waits for a moment where he could do something. He shoots off a short backlift. So there was a bit of promise in what he was doing. So fair play to him. That was a half decent debut, and we let in a goal, but who cares? So yeah, half decent day at the office that was.
And let's talk about Zolis then. We'll talk about all the games so far. But have you liked what you've seen from him so far? I mean, that's very direct, doesn't he? It's why I said it's very Trossard-like, but
absolutely,
it's something different to some of the other players, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think I think that directness is going to be really, really important. I think we spoke about a lot on our last podcast earlier in the week about needing someone to come and unlock a defence. It's not necessarily the goals and the assists. It's actually who was it that said it? I can't remember who said it, but someone said it about David Silva. He's the guy who plays the pass before the assist. We're kind of looking for that guy to unlock that zone for us a little bit, where he's going to come in, he's going to take a man on, and then he's either going to provide an assist or play a ball that's going to lead to an assist. That kind of player, and he looks like that type of player. And again, Trossard wasn't prolific, but what he did was good, and if we can replace that, then we're going into the season no worse off. Is what you would say is the bottom marker. It looks like we're not going to be worse off than what we were in losing Trossard. But yeah, very, very exciting. I think he got an assist as well. He's got a couple of goals. Can't ask for much more in pre-season, can you? Really? He's coming to a new team. He's not had a lot of time to train before these first couple of friendlies, and he's producing. I mean, for me, brilliant. He's hit the ground running. Let's see if he can transform that into the Premier League, where he's up against, he's in the best league in the world now, isn't he? So can he reproduce when the pressure's on?
Yeah. I mean, do you see him forcing his way into the first 11 this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because there is not much happening over there where he's kind of vying for that spot. So I think he can. And that's a view I've taken across the 3 preseason friendlies we've played so far, that he does enough. He does enough. What he does do, though, is that he bolsters our squad for like games where we rotate. He'll offer that penetration. We often have players that just don't shoot. He seems like Trossard insofar as that he won't hesitate to pull the trigger. And you can't have enough of those in the team, mate. You need people that are willing to pull the trigger. Sometimes out of the blue, which Trossard was good at, and sometimes when they're just released and can finish with authority, and he does finish with authority. So could end up being a little bit of a bargain.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. Well, let's move on to the second of the friendly games. Betis over in Dublin, right?
Yeah,
Dublin. Not great, was it? Obviously, we've been linked with a centre back. Faz, do you think that so our defending in these last couple of games has played a part in that? Because it's not been great, has it?
Nah, not really. But I mean, again, we spoke about not drawing too many conclusions off of pre-season friendly. The players that were playing that started the game, not playing, would have beat Betis if it mattered. If it mattered, anything more than a friendly would have beaten Betis. Our defensive frailties weren't so much exposed as our intensity was. They are 6 games into their preseason. This was our second. So, and then we were missing like about £1 billion worth of talent off of our first team. So, you've got to take these things in, in context. But Reece Nelson's in that photo, Dave. That should tell you everything you need to know about the level of conviction on the night from the Arsenal lads. So they beat us fair and square. We scored a goal from a set piece. Zolis again, I think. Yeah. So we've signed 2 new corner takers in Bruno and Zolis. So we've got 4 now. So anyone hoping for us not to be scoring off set pieces has probably got another thing coming. But Betis done us over. It's just one of those things, man. It was. But did I see anything which made me happy in this game? The answer is no. So not good, but
it is one of them hard ones where you do have to just sort of accept that it is a pre-season friendly. But it was hard not to see some worrying signs there, I guess, because I would say there wasn't many positives to come out of this one, was there?
No, and ultimately it comes down to if you see those worrying things in game 1, game 2, and game 3. By game 3, you're a little bit worried, right? And so this was the game where I thought, well, that's happened a bit easy. I'm not used to us letting in that easy of goals, but I don't know. You've got to be able to put a massive caveat on all of these things and say it's pre-season. They're just trying to get their legs back in again. So, and Betis looked sharper than us, much sharper than us. So and a quick mention for. I mean, I was distracted half the time by how immensely just awesome Hector Bellerin's hair is.
That's why I thought I gave him this picture. It was the best picture I could find of him in the game.
Fantastic.
So that's why Reece got a look in.
Yeah, that and the Tash combo, fantastic, honestly. So if there's a career after football for Hector, it might be an extra in Narcos or something. It's fantastic. He looked brilliant.
Nave, I think there is one thing we can take from these preseason games potentially, and it is the backup goalkeeper position or positions. I mean, neither have looked convincing in any of these games so far, have they?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I've not really watched enough of it, and I've seen that Kep has been completely and utterly destroyed online. So I'm assuming that he was really terrible.
Yeah.
I did see that Meslier had a good game against Girona. Apparently, he made a couple of really good saves. People were saying, like I said, I've not seen him. I don't know. I'm literally going off the Twitter sphere. But yeah, look, Ray is starting every single game. Obviously, the worry is if he gets injured or anything like that, or a substantial injury. But it's a risk that you take, isn't it? I think between a lot of them, there's some good noises about some of the young lads as well. I think we've got is it Tommy Stepford as well? A lot of people quite like him. I know you don't want to be for an academy goalkeeper and all things like that, but we're on the topic of goalkeepers. There is a lot of good noise about him, which is good. I think we'll be fine. I genuinely think we'll be fine. Not a problem at all. And again, kind of like what Fi said with friendlies, how much are players putting into it? Are they half-arsed and all that kind of stuff? Like you say, if it becomes a trend, if it's something that's happening again and again and again, then it's like, right, so there's definitely something there that I need to look at. But in a one-off, I'm not stressing.
Yeah, I mean, Betis did look, they were playing it like they were fully into this. They were like pressing. They were fully. This wasn't like they weren't playing this like a friendly. We were just knocking it around and not really too arsed, weren't we? So yeah, the result don't take too much from it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the other Spanish teams, they had the same thing as well. So a lot of Spanish teams beat up on the Premier League teams because they are much more into their pre-season. So yeah.
Well, let's move on to the most recent game. We're recording this before we play Como, by the way. So I think by the time this comes out, then we will potentially have played Como already. But we're recording this before because it's pre-season. We're not going to worry too much about it being super, live. I mean, we end our streak of Emirates Cup wins here, don't we? How gutted are you both about that? I think it was 5 in a row before this year. Now we've lost it. Should Arteta be sacked on the back of this, do you think?
I think so, mate.
Get him out.
I'll save that up for later in the season, Nate. Just get him out.
Yeah, no, it's one of them, isn't it? I mean, it's frustrating that it's called the Emirates Cup, and it's kind of like, well, Arsenal have to win it because they're sponsored by it. It's like, guys, just chill. It's a bit of a friendly with a bit of a trophy. I mean, look at the size of the trophy that we got given for beating Girona. Like, what was that about? It's the biggest trophy I think I've ever seen in football. It's absolutely enormous. There's no need for it to be that big whatsoever. But yeah, I get it. It's a friendly in it. Just it doesn't matter, does it? It really doesn't matter. The fact that we've conceded 3 goals in two consecutive games, that would be a trend that you look at and think, But Gabriel's not had much time to come back and get back to full fitness. Saliba's out. The others haven't really played much either. So I'm one of them. Me with friendlies, I'm super like, I don't care. Just get the minutes in the legs, sort it out on the training pitch. Chances are, half this team doesn't play, and we might not even play the same style of football. As a manager, I'd want to try. I'd want to try certain things, but I wouldn't want to put my full tactical master plan on the pitch in a friendly. I wouldn't be looking to do that, and I'd hope that Arteta would be the same.
Yeah, I mean, Fives, did he show anything different from what we've seen before? Did he look like he tried anything different?
No, I mean, the thing is, right, I think what I did notice over the 3 games was that for the first half an hour, that's where we kind of gave it a bit, and after that, players start coming off, and then it becomes a bit of a farce. But we had Odegaard back in the sort of 10 position. He was spraying passes, looked half decent. Ethan played most of the game, looked decent. Second half onwards, but the goals they scored, we were 2-0 down after not long, and the goals they scored, they don't score them against Arsenal when it matters. They just don't, because Gabriel kind of stuck out a leg and wasn't really pressing anybody, and without sort of Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and now Bruno, of course you're going to get a free run at the centre backs, aren't you? You're not going to have anyone there, so they just don't have that kind of liberty to play like that against us when it matters. So, with all those things aside, did I see any tactical shifts from Arsenal? Well, I did. I saw one that I don't like seeing, but he keeps doing it, is dropping Havertz into midfield. Like, it's just not going to work, mate. Stop it.
Yeah,
it's just not going to work.
Isn't it?
It just doesn't work. The only time I've ever rated Havertz in my life was when he played for Leverkusen and he played that position. So they've obviously drilled it out of him now. He just can't do it anymore. So, and then the other thing is that you then play Gyokeres up front, and one of my takeaways from this game was, mate, his first touch, Viktor Gyökeres' first touch is sponsored by Screwfix or something. It's fucking awful, mate. It is industrial. It's terrible, and his decision making is just what are you doing, man? Honestly, Portugal can't be that bad, but it's friendly, so I'll give him that. But some of the touches by Viktor Gyökeres, he's a battering ram. He does put himself about a bit, but half of the times he does that is because he's lost the ball and he's going to go and smash it into someone now. And I'm just, I'm not thinking that these links to Alvarez are because we've got some super duper plan where we're going to put them all together and make it work. I think that the links to Alvarez are more because Viktor Gyökeres, as much as he has beaten up on a few of the little teams and had, scored a decent amount of goals last year, I don't think tactically I just don't think his first touches are assured enough to play up front for Arsenal for a prolonged period of time. Now we could argue that he's going to get match fit and then get better. I just think it's more of the same from Victor, and I just think he is a limited footballer. And finisher, yep, absolutely can finish, but in some of those games where we spoke about, Nathan mentioned it about Gabriel Jesus, when it goes in, it sticks. If it goes into Havertz, it sticks. And our play is so dependent on that. But everything breaks down if it bounces off of you. And there was more of that. But again, massive caveat, it's pre-season. I do have my worries about him going into the season. So Viktor Gyökeres is the opposite of, when we say the eye test and everything, he's the opposite of the eye test. He looks shit, but he'll get you, his stats are pretty good. So, what'd you make of that? Well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. A couple other players. I really liked Ethan in this game, actually. Very composed. Actually, I liked him in the last 3 games I've seen him. I liked him. I think we could do a lot worse than playing Ethan next year and keeping him at the club. And Dowman again. Honestly, I genuinely think that our best left-wing option is Dowman. Or even if playing him in the 10, because he's that good. He's that good. And he's filled out a bit this year. And what I did notice are the 3 games were 3 different styles of team, 3 different levels of intensity, and he didn't seem out of place, and more power to him. So that's what I got out of these games. Martin Odegaard looked decent again. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, Martin Odegaard looked decent again. I'm not worried about the defense being anything less than robust when they get their midfield back in front of them. So no concerns. What is obvious though is that, God forbid anything happens to Ben White, and he's not, bless him, he's given his body for Arsenal Football Club. He's not the same player he was, but that's the only recognisable right back we've got left. So, we are staring over the abyss for that, because it's going to be an academy product if we don't. So, again, the result is irrelevant. We beat them on penalties. But yeah, apart from that, we've lost our Emirates Cup title. It's not looking good. But then I recall us getting beat by Tottenham last year in a friendly, and then we became champions. So that's how much attention you should pay to friendlies.
Yeah. Faz obviously mentioned there about Gyokeres, Havertz. Do you think we'll see Havertz a bit deeper at times this year? Because Arteta seems to want to squeeze him in, doesn't he? But it doesn't ever seem to work out, does it?
No, I think we signed him as a midfielder, didn't we? I don't think any of us envisioned him playing up front.
I think his 8 was where he was sort of signed to play.
Yeah.
I think that was always the sort of what was envisioned for him.
And when we signed him, we were all like, okay, why have we done that? That makes no sense whatsoever.
To replace Xhaka, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. But if he's coming in to play 8, he's not replacing Xhaka, is he? He's replacing Odegaard, and that was never going to happen, was it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he's going to try and put Havertz in midfield, but you've just gone and signed Bruno. So where are you putting him? We've just said that Nwaneri and Dowman both look good playing in midfield as well. I just don't see a place for him unless you're throwing him up front. Just going back to Gyokeres for a second, when we signed him, I was really excited. I thought there's 2 strikers we can go for here. One of them's Gyokeres, one of them's Sesko. Not going to lie, lads, I was firmly in the Benjamin Sesko camp. I thought he fitted our style much better at the time, and I still think he would. I genuinely think I'd swap them round. I know that's crazy, but I'm still in that kind of camp. But with Gyokeres, it felt like when we signed him, we needed him, and then we completely changed how we played and went completely against his type of game. And I was like, well, what was the fucking point in that then? Like, you've fixed the problem and then you've changed the question. So what's the point? What are you doing there? That's one of those that just blows my mind. It blew my mind all last season. It's just, you signed a number 9 to just basically stay in the box and, you know, bully defenders, but up high and be the finishing article. And we just don't play like that anymore. You know, how many times those seasons before we won the league were we, you know, 1 goal away from winning a game, and there was just nobody. There wasn't a natural striker there, was there? There was absolutely no one. You know, I'm talking about when Jesus got injured and we were playing like Nketiah, and he was doing bits, but it was like, God, we need a number 9. When we played without a number 9, we went on that mad run where we won, like, I think it was like 5-0, 5 or 6-0 against West Ham. I think we put a few past Newcastle. We just went on a crazy run. We were high scoring games. We've absolutely no number 9. And then we went and got one and changed how we played, and it was like, I don't get that. But then again, flip it on its head, and like Fives made an absolutely brilliant point of Gyokeres being the complete opposite of the eye test. Absolutely horrendous to watch, and yet was one of the best performing strikers last season. Crazy, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, he's a very strange one, isn't he? Because they say, what did he end up last season with? What, did he get to 20? I think he got to 20 goals.
I think he got to 20, didn't he? I think he got to like 21, 22.
Look, you just can't argue with that in a debut season.
No, you can't.
League, can you? It's,
that's a great effort in a debut Premier League season. You know, that's fantastic. It's exactly what we wanted.
Most strikers you would think would take a step on in the second season as well, wouldn't you? From that,
exactly. Yeah.
I really hope he does.
I do as well. I'm happy. I'm more than happy to give him the benefit of any doubt, and, you know, go and get me another 20 goals, but look a little bit more attractive doing it.
It's a first touch thing. I mean, I saw a player who was on the counter attack running. You know, they could catch him, but he wasn't electric, but he was quick. And like, I haven't seen any of that. I've seen some good finishes, and it can't be denied. He's got the 20 odd goals, but I didn't know he was like, he makes everything look complicated, lads. And I think that's apart from finishing, he makes everything else complicated. And I'm just like, I don't want to be one of those fans that sits there and and has a really low bar for someone just because I like their numbers. Where I'm like, oh, go on then, Victor, Victor, because he managed to control the ball. Like, just what the fuck, man.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the annoying thing that plays into that argument as well is both games against Atletico Madrid, where it did stick to him and he did hold up the ball really well, and he was just a nightmare for them. Over them 2 legs, he was phenomenal. He was absolutely, he was everything that we wanted him to be. Just big, strong. Yeah. Touch was on point. You know, playing off those little passes that brought everybody else into play.
Yep.
He was so it's there. It is there. It's just once a season, he's absolutely nowhere near enough.
So I read somewhere.
I think we saw it a bit in the World Cup as well, didn't we? Sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yes.
We did.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah.
I read somewhere that last year we changed the way we played, as you said, for Gyokeres, but I wanted to get like a understanding of it or what it was, and we played more than 3 times the amount of passes over the top, so like over the back 4, from midfield, from defence, for our striker to run onto. Before that, I think City played twice as many. That's probably because they've got Haaland, right? So they release him and they know what's coming next, right? So we upped that. We upped that to bring these guys. So we played to their strengths last year, and he got 20 goals. So he's a mystery, mate. And I'm not sure, lads, how it's going to work out with him. But
just on that point, Fires, on that point, just before you move on, where we were playing the ball over the top for him, I actually think he's better with the ball at his feet. That's a mad thing to say, but every time I've seen him with the ball at his feet and run at a player, he's either bullied them out of the way or he's took them on and got himself into a bit of a position. He just seems to be better with ball, maybe not directly into feet, but
I think you're right.
Instead of hitting it over the top, play it along the floor. for him
Yeah.
to go and to go shoulder to shoulder with the defender. Because I put him up against any defender. It'd take a world class defender to stop him winning the ball. So rather than going high and having to control that difficult ball, and that's when his first touch is absolutely horrific, get it on the floor so he doesn't have to take that first touch. Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear. And but ultimately, what does it take out of the rest of our game if we're having to play him like that? And although there might not be defenders who are as strong as some of the centre backs in the Premier League, in the Portuguese league, but they are all really, really quick in England. And if you've got that weapon as a defender, you can go once and go again with anyone less than Haaland. Basically, it takes a machine to be able to like dominate the league now, if you know what I mean. So, in that kind of one-on-one running with the defender next to you or holding it up, unless you're Haaland, there isn't really an outstanding striker in our league for that reason. Do you know what I mean? So, so you're either really quick or you're a mixture of like, you've got a bit of flair about you or whatever. And good old Viktor doesn't really have much of anything. He's got a really good shot on him, so he finishes really well. And that's me kind of clutching at straws, but then I've got to balance it against the fact that he scored a lot of goals last year. And maybe that's what he is. Maybe Havertz starts and we bring on Viktor Gyökeres and that's his role in the team. But I don't think Arsenal look at someone like Julian Alvarez and say he's coming in to play somewhere else apart from replacing one of those two.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
if we sign him, he's playing through the middle.
He's playing up front. Yeah. So, and nothing I've seen from Viktor convinces me that that's going to happen. Now, I'll tell you what: if Viktor Gyökeres played for Aston Villa or Newcastle, he'd get a truckload of goals, and people will be saying, "Oh, Arsenal should go for him. Why are Arsenal going for him?" And it just shows you that if you've got someone that's got the numbers, does the right amount of sprints, does the right things, according to like maybe statistics or whatever, they're just not a fit for your team technically. And I think that's where we're probably going to have some issues moving forward. Now, tactics aside, I think Havertz is our number one striker next year as well. If Havertz has a good season, I don't think Havertz gets more than like 15. Can't see it happening.
Yeah.
And so you've got someone else who can perhaps share the burden with him. But look, we're going to go around the houses, mate, where I am anyway, and we're going to end up talking about how the left side does nothing. If the left side does something, because we saw it with Saka last year. As soon as Saka came into the team, he was finding Gyokeres. He was finding Havertz because Saka's good. So it may just be, lads, and I'm being, because it's a preseason friendly, I'm going to be a bit charitable, and I'm going to say, put Gyokeres in a situation where all he has to do is finish, and you've got a decent goal scorer in your hands. If you want him to do anything more than that, it's a stretch. So, and you know what? I reckon that goes for Havertz as well. Havertz is a better footballer technically than Gyokeres. That goes hands down. But if Havertz played every game next year, I think he'd struggle to get 20. He'll play really well, Will Havertz, but I don't know. He's like a deep lying striker. He kind of drops in and whatever, and at least it sticks. But if you had them together, they'd be perfect. It's a bit like what the argument we made a little while ago about Martinelli and it. If you put them together, you've got like the perfect, and we've got like two very different forwards in that way, which is why I still say Gabriel Jesus is the top boy at the club if he's fit. So there you go, lads. About as clear as mud.
I think the other thing to remember as well is that there are no strikers anymore. There are no number 9s. There's none. Haaland's a freak. He doesn't count because you can play him in any position on the pitch and he'll probably be the best player on the pitch. He's just that kind of a person, isn't he?
Like Mbappe.
Well, yeah, Mbappe. Again, he's not a classic number 9, is he? He does the role well, very, very well, very well. But you know, I'm thinking like Harry Kane's probably the last one. You know, horrible to say, but you know, he's moved on, so we can give him a little bit. Kane's the last remaining number 9, isn't he? I can't think of anybody else out there that can play the number 9 role anymore. So again, like Fi said, we can go around in circles all day because it comes back to we've got a very, very good right wing that picks up the slack. We've got absolutely nothing coming from the left wing, and we've got a mediocre to decent striker. So do you go big on that left winger who's going to chip in with the rest of what you need? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a unit. It's a unit rather than a player these days, isn't it? That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And do you know what? Like the whole reason I've kind of brought this up about Gyokeres and stuff is, if we do happen to, it won't happen, but if we did manage to go for an Alvarez, he's not typically your Gyokeres, Havertz. He's more like a Jesus. Maybe a better finisher, maybe less silky on the ball, but he will get you goals. And I think that just, if you've got a player who worries the opposition, it's immensely easier for your team after that. And I don't think Havertz or Gyokeres worries anyone, and that's a problem, mate. And I think if we get Alvarez, I think we get him and one of those two lads moves on, because the upgrade is definitely required. And that's what really struck me about the 3 games, that even if we play Super Mikel Merino, World Cup and Euros winner Mikel Merino up front, every defense that plays against him steps onto him and steps past him, because we'll catch you on the way back, mate. You're not outrunning anybody. And one of us will deal with you. And we've just got 3 forwards like that. You know, and they don't drag them anywhere. They just kind of stay central. Things bounce off them. You know, it's not how I want to see us play football next year or this season coming. And at the moment, it looks like more of the same. At the moment, unfortunately, it looks like more of the same.
I think with Alvarez as well, it goes back to what we were saying as well about someone who can break down these low blocks that we're struggling against. I think he can do that. I think he can come sort of like, for want of a better word, he can weasel his way through those low blocks, give you something different. I think, like what Fi says, plays a lot like Jesus rather than the 3 that we've got that we're using up front. It can drift out to the left and maybe help with that left wing problem. So say we don't sign anyone, Zolis starts, Martinelli starts, whoever you want, but he can go out and help. And Dave, like you were saying about the whole Calafiori thing, where you're not happy with that, we can kind of say, well, no, you don't need to do that now, because Alvarez can come and play that little bit where he's going to come and get involved and break it down from that left hand side. And another thing that Fi said as well is, you know, everyone doubles up on Saka because he's our main threat. There's no one else. You can lose a player on the pitch against us because they're not doing anything. Whereas an Alvarez, even if it's not an Alvarez, even if it's someone, you know, even if it's a Barcola or even if it was a Vinny, whoever it is, you bring someone in who's got that fear factor where they go, shit, I'm going to have to put one on him as well. Will that take that one away from Saka? And then they've got a real problem. And it's like, right, well, what am I doing there? Because if I leave a hole there, you're going to give Odegaard a bit more room and a bit more space, which is what he's been crying out for all last season. And it's like, well, if I can put one on him, Deck's going to make one of them long busting runs, and he's going to come and there's going to be no one to stop that run. And all of a sudden, you've got multiple problems. You know, you're putting plasters over a hole only for it to reappear over here. That's what you want. That's the dream, isn't it?
So that's what I meant about like getting an Alvarez in. It's not a left wing solution, but having Alvarez or a more mobile striker who drifted out to the left would mean that you could swap with Martinelli. Martinelli would cut inside. Now you've got someone else over there causing a problem, receiving the ball, and you might not need this 150, 200 million pound upgrade on the left wing if Martinelli. If Martinelli, all right, I'll put this in the clearest way I can. Martinelli is stuck to the left wing because nothing moves in front of him. There's a striker who just sits there, whether it's Marino, Havertz, or Viktor Gyökeres. They stay there. That means Martinelli can't move. The only person he can interchange with is the fella behind him because fuck knows what he's doing. So that's all we've got. Or he might be able to come in while Eze swaps with him or something. But then what's Martinelli doing in central midfield? If you've got a more mobile striker who can move out and allow him to do that to the left wing, a la, Thierry Henry famously, but Nicolas Anelka did it. And I'm talking about great players now, right? But if you've got a striker that does that, Isak does that at the moment, for example, for Liverpool, Ekitike, players like that who do, they're just mobile and they're comfortable going out to a wing, like Gabriel Jesus is comfortable going out to the wing, taking a player on, and then allowing this kind of movement to happen. If everyone knows that your striker is not mobile and is going to stay in the middle, they will stick a defender on him. And now they're not worried about Martinelli now. It's just that Saka's really good, so they have to worry about Saka. But I think, what I have seen over these three friendlies is, unless we get some more movement the real top part of the pitch, i.e. striker, we're going to have the same breakdowns when we get to like low blocks again. And I haven't seen us do anything different, which is why I'm kind of forcing this Dowman debate, mate, because I think if you've not got anything to worry about over there, and Ethan as well, Ethan can do it. But if you've got nothing to worry about over there because your striker's immobile, so Martinelli is neutralised now because Martinelli can't beat anybody. What are you then presenting as a problem to the opposition? So, a lot to think about. But as you said, lads, it's a friendly. We're trying to get fit, but there are some things there. I'm less worried about the defense, to be honest with you. Just to go and move off the strikers for a little bit, but there is a problem. If we get one more injury, right centre back or right back, and then we are in the transfer market trying to sign someone who maybe doesn't fill that gap quality wise that we want to. So, those are the main takeaways. And as long as Raya stays fit all season, we don't have to worry about seeing those other two plonkers in goal. So we'll be all right. I don't know who's worse, Kepa or Meslier. I don't know who's worse, mate. They're both
either or. I think I don't think you need to worry. Just the same. I think one thing I do find frustrating though, like we always talk about the low block, but I think a lot of Arsenal fans do talk like we're the only teams that have ever faced it. All the good teams over the years have faced it. I don't think any have struggled quite as badly as we do against it.
No, I think that's a great point.
We we don't adapt in any way. Yeah. Or we were playing the same attack basically at the end of the last season that we were at the start of last season, and nothing really changed about it. Then, I don't know. If they're playing a low block, it means they're not committing loads of players forward. We don't need, two holding midfielders. Maybe sacrifice one of them and bring on someone a bit more attacking, or just do something different with things than.
So City play every week against a low block. I have done for 10 years.
But you don't hear it as such a big deal, do you, that they're playing against it every week? But they are.
No, not at all. Not at all. You don't hear a big deal because, again, lads, this is going to sound like I've discovered a new thing, so I'm just going to keep on going on about it. But their striker, where Haaland's going to be when it matters. But he's rarely there because he's moving people around the whole game. Look at our lads. It doesn't matter who it is, to be honest. They are on the penalty spot and they're waiting for it. There was a moment in the Dortmund game, Havertz went through, but a bit wide of the goal, and he cut it back. It wasn't a great pass, to be honest. It's the one that's going viral in Arsenal circles anyway. And he cut it back, penalty spot. That's where Viktor Gyökeres should be. But Viktor Gyökeres ran in a straight line, just a straight line. And the defender just stood between him and the ball the whole way. And the keeper came out and caught it. And you just think to yourself, mate, try, change your run a little bit, try and meet the ball. You could see the way Havertz was through that he was going to have to wrap his foot around it. So there's going to be a lack of power. But, by just going to the furthest point away from the ball, you're allowing so many people to come in and just stop that. Where you could come to the ball, mate. You could come to the ball. And I just think to myself that lack of mobility, now going back to your low block point, that lack of mobility just means that, everyone can settle and how they're defending a low block because they know where all of us are going to be. And you can bring on extra players to make that lung bursting run through. But how about our forwards move around a bit, swap places with each other? How about, like Haaland might go wide and get the ball, hold it. So Foden's gone up front, or Marmoush or Semenyo, whoever. And they're just moving about because that's how you beat a low block, mate. You just move. And we are, through the middle of the pitch, we are so static, man. So either that or you shoot. And none of those two things are happening. So we'll see how it goes, lads. But I think, funnily enough, left wing being left wing, in the 3 games I've watched, the left wing hasn't been a problem. It's up front. It's up front. We just don't. We look like we're going to score 71 goals again this year, and we will not win the Premier League with 71 goals, especially with Saliba being out till probably Christmas or something.
It was my main takeaway from these games that it just looks more of the same. We've spoken about hopefully, being a bit more direct potentially or a bit faster, but it just looked more of the same. And I know it's just friendlies and maybe they hold us back, but I don't know. It just looked tactically, it looked like we're going to do the same things. And it wouldn't surprise me if come that Coventry game, we struggle to a 1-0 win or something. And it's just the same old stuff we saw the back end last season. And I don't know, it's just frustrating, isn't it? But we've got 2 more games.
We need something, lads. We need an injection of enthusiasm, someone that demands a bit of change, someone that excites, And if we're not going to sign someone, which I'm not 100% convinced we should, then you've got to bring in a joker in the pack, right? Play Dowman.
Yeah. Where'd you fit him in, though? What, instead of Odegaard, maybe? Or
no, start him on the left.
Yeah.
Play him wherever you want. It's just a joker in the pack, mate. Just play him wherever you want. Wherever there's a space, he's that good. Just play him. Play him. He's just fearless, mate. Like maybe we've just got too many players. I don't know. I don't know why, but genuinely, I believe that maybe not in the long term, but at least at 60, at just turning 16 years old, he excites me like Rooney did, mate. Rooney was sensational at 16 years old. So is Max Dowman, mate. I'm not saying he's going to have a career like his or whatever, but not saying he's going to be after old grannies trying to shag him either. But it's just he just looks the part, doesn't he? He's not phased by it. Okay, Rooney was a bit more built than he is, but then Rooney played up front. We're not asking Dowman to play up front. We're asking him to do a shift on the wing, and I just think there's something there, lads. It might not be in the early part of the season, but I think we'll see Dowman come in this year, and I'll be very surprised if he's dropping the ball then. So then that kind of begs the question. He's not replacing Saka, as you said. He's not replacing Odegaard, because that's kind of like Odegaard. But then against Girona, he played in the middle of the park, and he looked really good. He played in the number 10. He looked really good. Received the ball, half turn, off he went. Through ball, 1-0 Arsenal. I just don't think you can repress talent like that, man, after a little while.
Well, I've got one last question for you then before we round up. We're, 10 days away, 10, 11 days from the start of the Premier League season, facing Coventry. I mean, who do you think, not who would you, who do you think the front 4 is for that game? I mean, how do you think Arteta starts that game?
That's tough. That's a tough question because, like I say, I've not really seen any of pre-season or anything like that. I think it'll be whoever we've got in now. I think whoever we sign, if we sign anyone, won't be ready for that game. They'll probably be on the bench at best. So I think in my head, I would probably go with Zolis, Gyokeres. It's going to be Madueke, isn't it? It's going to be Madueke.
So.
And Odegaard, because you said 4, didn't you? So I'll just throw Odegaard in there. Based on the friendlies and what Fies was saying, I would have no problem seeing Max Dowman start that game. I really, really wouldn't.
Yeah.
But do you know what? to be fair, we're saying Madueke, but I know he didn't play much for England, but he was with England for the same amount of time as Saka. And I've not
He played
really
more
seen
than
his name.
Saka, didn't he? He played more minutes than Saka.
Exactly, yeah. So to be fair, it genuinely probably could be Dowman. Just based on the fact that Madueke is not back yet. He's not back, is he? I don't even think he's played.
I think they all came back today.
Right. Okay.
I saw things like, you know, we've got a full squad back basically, or full complement back.
So
I think they're all back in training.
based on that, then I'll go to Zolis, Odegaard, Dowman, Gyokeres up front.
Where are you, Faiz?
Saka, Havertz up front, Martinelli, Odegaard.
Yeah, I think it might be that as well. I think Saka didn't play that many minutes in the World Cup in the end, did he? And
no, I can certainly see him starting. To be fair, no, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, because obviously got the Como game coming up. They might get some minutes in that.
He didn't play at the back end of the season either, even though
no, that's it.
So
he has actually had quite a long rest, really. You know, like compared to his normal schedule, at least.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So,
which sort of feels weird, doesn't it? We're coming in after a World Cup where we went to semi-finals, but yeah, it'll be interesting to have a line up in
that. For the Charity Shield, what do you think? What do you guys think?
God knows.
No,
it depends. I assume he's not going to take it too seriously. To me, it's just another step up. I think Como, we might see Bruno get his first minutes potentially. I don't know. I think City will. It feels like a Dowman game, City, doesn't it? You know, just throw him out there and give him the chance.
I think so.
I reckon we get rolled over and everyone starts panicking like crazy. I reckon we genuinely get absolutely rolled over and everyone goes, "Oh my god."
I think a lot of that depends on how fit Rice is, how fit like Saka is potentially. You know, if they play any minutes at all.
I'm banking on Saliba, Rice, Saka, not playing. That's our top three players right there.
I think they're just going to try really hard because it's Enzo's first game, innit? So
yeah,
they're going to want to put a marker down. Put one down.
I think they are just a good team. You know, I think we'll do a bit of a bumper preview next week, but I expect a better City this year than we saw last year. To be honest, I don't know about you.
Do you think?
But
all right, we'll do it properly next week.
We'll do it properly next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Getting late on, so we won't bother this week. But yeah. When we come out next week, we'd have potentially won the Community Shield, another trophy in Arteta's cabinet. If we count it as that. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this show, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you follow us everywhere. Do all of that stuff. We're at Clock End Tap Room everywhere. So yeah, make sure you go and find us there. Cheers, lads. By the time we come back next week, we'll be actually into the season, which feels weird, doesn't it? Really. Yeah, we'll have a proper Premier League game to look ahead to, and the big one against Coventry on Friday night, which is glamour side, isn't it?
We begin the defence of our title, lads.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Them gold badges on the sleeve look a bit different, don't they? They look nice. But yeah, thanks for joining me.
Cheers.
Right,
Thank you.
Always. 20 episodes in the books there, so got there pretty quick, haven't we?
Done well.
100. Did the big Gyokeres Havertz special or whatever for the 20th episode there, didn't we? So maybe other milestones we do something special for, but 20 don't seem like it. But yeah, I'll stop rambling on anyway. So yeah, cheers, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.